A very good afternoon. I welcome Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of State for Science and Technology, Minister of State in the Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Department of Atomic Energy and Department of Space for this program, which has been organized for the launch of the Common Fellowship Portal of the various departments under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Honorable Minister will be launching this portal. The launch of this Common Fellowship Portal will streamline the entire process of accessing information and facilitate submission of applications for PhD and postdoctoral students. Friends, we'll begin with the short presentation on the Common Fellowship Portal by the Department of Biotechnology, who have coordinated the development of this portal, followed by addresses by Professor Karandikar, Secretary Department of Science and Technology, and Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary DBT. I'll now request Dr. Garima Gupta, Scientist DBT, to begin with the proceedings.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Union Minister of State, Independent Charge for Science and Technology, Ministry of Science for PM's Office, Personnel, Public Grievances, Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Professor Karandikar, Senior Advisor, Department of Biotechnology, Dr. Sanjay Mishra, Madam from PIB, colleagues from DBT, DST, CSIR, our friends from press and media, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the Department of Biotechnology, it is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this inaugural ceremony for the launch of the Common Fellowship Portal. The portal is designed to provide students with a comprehensive repository of information on doctoral and postdoctoral fellowships offered by various ministries and departments with the underlying theme of nurturing scientific temper in young minds for Viksit Bharat. I now extend an invitation to all the dignitaries on the dais for lighting of the lamp, symbolizing the enlightenment that knowledge brings to our lives. Thank you. May I now call upon Secretary, Department of Biotechnology to welcome and honor our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Union Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, by presenting a shawl and a plant. May I also invite Thank you, sir. May I also invite Dr. Sanjay Mishra to welcome Secretary Department of Biotechnology, Secretary Department of Science and Technology, and Director General PIB with a plant. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Vandana to felicitate Dr. Sanjay Mishra with a plant. Dr. Sanjay Mishra, Senior Advisor and Scientist H, Department of Biotechnology, is the overall coordinator for the development of this common fellowship portal. We most humbly appreciate his tireless efforts dedicated to the development of the portal. His perseverance and determination have been instrumental in bringing us to this momentous occasion. May I now invite Dr. Sanjay Mishra to share his insights into the successful journey of the Common Fellowship Portal. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Union Minister for Science and Technology, Secretary Department of Science and Technology, Secretary Department of Biotechnology, Madam Pragya Paliwal Gaur, Director General, Press Information Bureau, scientists and officers from various ministries, departments of the Government of India, directors of the national institutions including DST, DSIR, CSIR and DBT autonomous institutions, representatives from the media, and faculty members, and most important, the research scholars, students, PhD students, postdoctoral fellows from various academic institutions who have made their time to attend this launch ceremony. A very good afternoon to all of you. Let me start my presentation with the first question, PPT please. Let me start that why we need a common fellowship portal at all. Next slide. So this is why we need a common fellowship portal. Now to answer this question, I need to take you to why the fellowships are designed, what is their purpose, how they operate, and then we will be able to answer this question, and that will explain why this portal is required at all, especially in an era where most of you are already aware that ministries, departments do have a portal, do have their website, do have a process. I'll tell you that. First, this fellowships are integral part of the human resource development. Back, please. Fellowships are integral part of the human resource development because human resources in science and technology are an important national resources in a country. Second point is, this is human resource development in science and technology contributes to the strength of national science, technology, and innovation capacity. In very short, that if you look at global, any country which is advanced in science, technology, research, innovation, they do have a very robust and very strong HRD systems in place. And when I say HRD systems, that includes fellowships, scholarships, and also the capacity building exercises. Therefore, that is the bigger picture where the fellowship and the HRD schemes operate in a country, in a research ecosystems. Therefore, the several ministries in Government of India and departments, they nurture, they support, they initiate several scholarships, fellowships, and human resource development activities. Fellowship is one of them. For example, if you see, and many of you are coming from the science and technology background, then you will know that such kind of fellowships, scholarships are available not only with the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, CSIR, UGC, AICT, ICMR. There are other agencies also, they do operate their fellowships. Now the question is, from the government perspective, this is a good news that every department is keen, has got the schemes to have these scholarships, fellowships. Now, the moment you go from the other side, from a student perspective, from the applicant perspective, you will find that the student find different schemes to apply. Next slide, please. So just to give you, I mean, I'll not take the whole of the Government of India, but the department where I come from, the Department of Biotechnology, that is where I'll just give you a glimpse of the various HRD schemes which we are currently operating. For example, there are schemes to support at the undergraduate, postgraduate level students. There are schemes for postgraduate teaching courses. Then we have the PhD students, PhD fellowships. Then if you move further, you will have the postdoctoral fellowships, which are done after the PhD. And of course, just to point out that not only at the student life, but also once you become a scientist, you become assistant professor, still learning and the support doesn't end. There are schemes to support the human resources and at the senior level also. So in a very nutshell, the HRD schemes do operate across the range, across the ages, right from school to postdoctoral level. Now, the question comes here that PhD and postdoctoral level, these are the two very vital links to make a scientist, to make a research career. That is where the focus lies, and that is very important if you find that to attract the students and fellows at the PhD level and postdoctoral level, it is important that we should have the support system in terms of the financial fellowships, scholarships, and other supports as well. So PhD and postdoctoral level are the two important. We have number of the schemes by various ministries and Government of India to support at that level. For example, in Department of Biotechnology, even last year, only for the PhD postdoctoral fellowship level, we have received more than 50,000 applications. So similarly, I think afterwards, the Department of Science and Technology and the CSIR, my colleagues will also present the glimpse about their HRD schemes. And if you add all these schemes together, I'm just giving this one example of the DBT, if you find there are 10 departments, so there will be multiple schemes. And as a student, as an applicant, you need to apply, look first, you have to look the website portal, you have to find whether you are eligible, what is the last date, and then you apply separately. Next slide, please. So this gives the larger picture. This gives you the larger picture where we are right now. What I said just now, that you have got each department which are shown in the blue boxes, and here is the student. And the student need to talk and operate at different departments in a different manner, in a different portals. Now, the proposal which has come here with this common field fellowship is a simple one. Now, we have come together, the departments have come together to come to, at the common fellowship portal, to develop this portal, where a student will interface at one portal, and that portal will provide all the information, links, and also, most important, the application forms. Now, the student need to apply at one place. He or she will get all the information, and through the API process, the application forms will be transferred to the respective government department portals as much as possible. There may be some exceptions because of some technical issues, but this is the whole philosophy. We try to bring it. So in very short, this is a kind of the first step, what we call the whole of government approach. So that means the departments are coming together to benefit the end user and fellowship and the students community in particular at this particular place. Next slide, please. So I think the fellowship, I'll show you a very short video also, but in very short, the main feature of this fellowship portal are as follows. The first, a comprehensive listing of all fellowship schemes from various ministries, departments. Although in an age of information era, where at the tip of your mobile, all information is available. But sometimes a student gets perplexed, too much of information. Where do I get it? So getting a right information in a short period of time is very, very difficult. So the first job this portal does is it accumulates all the information, puts in one place from the various departments, number one. Number two, again, is the eligibility calculator. A student or a fellow can put his or her details like, age, qualifications, and other details. And the system and the portal will advise the student that, well, if this is your credentials, you are eligible to apply on these many schemes. That's the one, I believe, is one of the very important help to the student community, particularly to navigate themselves in this fellowships world. Then the third important parameter or the feature of this portal is Aadhaar-based verified unique ID. So we have created, it's not mandatory, that if a student wishes to use the portal to submit all his details at one place in one point of time, so with Aadhaar based, there will be a repository. So the student can always put all the details, everything will be stored in the database, and when there is opportunity comes in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, the same information can be auto-fetched and submitted to the application form. So in very short that, you need not to apply at 10 places in 10 different, starting from the beginning. You already have repository which can be used to submit the application form. Streamlined submission of sharing of forms via API system. This is where we are working, and we have already done in the DST and CSIR and DBT. The HRD schemes of these 3 departments have come together. The plan is to integrate others as well for the application submission also. And the application dashboard. So it's a kind of a tailor-made dashboard which will be available to the student looking after his or her applications, how many applications he or she or the person has submitted, where they are. So that will be kind of a database. Next. Now, a short video is just a very short video to summarize.
Imagine if there was a compass guiding applicants through the complex landscape of STEM fellowships, ensuring that crucial information is at their fingertips. Enter the Ministry of Science and Technology's Common Fellowship Portal. Crafted for the ease of doing science in India, CFP is a gateway to research aspirations. A first-of-its-kind centralized hub of government-backed doctoral and postdoctoral science fellowships and schemes. Begin by taking the free eligibility test to swiftly shortlist programs tailored to every applicant's strengths. And what's more? With CFP, you never have to start from scratch again. Submit your forms with ease by accessing and filing all the online paperwork through your personalized dashboard. Simply create an account with an Aadhaar KYC, provide your details, and build your common application form. That's not all. Track real-time status of fellowships currently open. Access necessary forms and submit your applications, made possible by seamless API integrations. With all of this and more, CFP is a product of the whole of government approach to nurture scientific temper in the young minds of India. Head over to fellowships.gov.in now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure his presentation and this short video would have invigorated the minds, the young minds that have joined us today, both in person and online. Thank you so much, sir. So moving forward, we also have with us Dr. Geeta Vani Rasayam, Head of CSIR HRDG. Dr. Rasayam brings extensive experience from academia, industry, Indian and international government sectors, and has played diverse roles at CSIR for more than a decade. She has been a pivot in the development of the portal. I request ma'am to address our esteemed audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Secretary DBT, Dr. Gokhale, Secretary DST, Dr. Karandikar, DG PIB, and Dr. Mishra, and all the esteemed colleagues here, and the friends from media. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. And we heard from Dr. Mishra about the Common Fellowship Portal. I would just like to show you some of the activities under the Human Resource Development Group, which are undertaken by CSIR. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as many of you know, CSIR is one of the oldest science and technology organization in the country and has played a pioneering role in terms of research fellowships and developing human resources in the country. And one thing I would like to highlight here is, in fact, research fellowships have been identified as one of the functions of the council when the council itself was formed in 1942. So although CSIR does a lot of technologies and products and all that, there's also an important component of human resource development, and it was recognized way back in 1942 that research fellowships are an integral part of developing scientific capability in the country. And so apart from the research fellowships, research grants were also identified, and the extramural funding of research grants of CSIR has enabled many of these institutions when they were coming up early after the India's independence. And apart from these fellowships, we also support symposium, seminars and conferences. And many of you from the scientific community must be knowing about the CSIR UGC National Eligibility Test. So in the next slide, it shows you, so as I mentioned, extramural grants, actually, the scheme started in 1943 itself to support the scientific organizations in the country which were being set up right from TIFR, so on and so forth, and Department of Atomic Energy. And the doctoral fellowships were introduced in 1983, recognizing that we need to develop the PhDs in the country. And postdoctoral fellowships actually predated the PhD fellowships. In fact, postdoctoral fellowships were started in 1950. Showing that there's a lot of legacy of supporting science fellowships in the country, and we support the universities and others in the extramural grants. And regarding the awards, till now we were doing the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, which has now got subsumed into the national awards of the Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, which many of you have heard in the media. And another program which we started from 2016-17 onwards, because we are talking about scientific temper in young minds. Another activity is the Jigyasa program, which connects to the school students. Here, however, there is no fellowship, it's more of an outreach program. So the next slide. Yeah, so coming to the fellowships, so what are the fellowships, which is the main discussion today? So CSIR is supporting PhD fellowships, and they are selected by the JRF UGC NET exam, which is conducted. Now we are working with the NTA for this, and it is conducted in 5 different subjects: the life sciences, the earth sciences, mathematical sciences, chemical sciences, and physical sciences. And so those people who qualify that exam are awarded the fellowship. And apart from these, we also support the direct SRF fellowship, wherein students who are working in projects are eligible to receive fellowship as direct SRFs. We also support the research associate and the postdoctoral fellowships, which we are talking about. And there is also senior research associate fellowship, which is also called as a pool officer fellowship. And in fact, this was a very popular scheme again in 1950s, and it was administered by Ministry of Home Affairs as almost similar to UPSC to attract the scientists from abroad. So that scheme is also running right now. So if you look at how many fellowships, CSI typically supports between 8,000 to 10,000 fellowships per year. And this is the graph which is showing you that about 8,000 fellowships is being supported today. And in terms of funding, you can see now there is a gradual increase in the funding. So almost from 200 crores in 2014, we have reached almost 400 crores in terms of funding for the fellowships, and this is per year. And there was also hike in fellowships which were announced, and CSIR has already implemented that hike in the fellowships for the students. And another interesting initiative, which was direct benefit transfer mode of disbursement, was initiated by CSIR from 2017 onwards. Earlier, the fellowship was given to the host institution, which was to disperse, but now the fellowships directly goes to the students. So these are some of the initiatives. Next slide, please. So another interesting scheme, although it is not directly fellowship, but this is for supporting the women scientists, which the Honorable Minister launched last year on the Women's Day, which is called as the Aspire. Again, it was a unique program which was launched, wherein special grants were given for women scientists alone through the extramural research scheme. And we had tremendous success. We were expecting few hundreds of applications. We got 3,000 applications. Some of the subjects, the results are announced, and some are going to be announced within the next few weeks. So this is again one of the flagship program of the Human Resource Development Group. Next slide. So just a little bit about the Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar. As many of you are familiar, there are 4 categories, and this is again shows the whole of government approach, which Dr. Mishra was talking about. Earlier there were awards given by different ministries, but now there is a common portal, the Rashtriya Puraskar portal, and there are 4 different categories of awards. And in fact, this nominations just closed on the National Science Day, and so the first round of results are expected on the National Technology Day on 11th of May. Next slide. Yeah, and just when you're talking of PhDs, how do you connect to the PhDs? Once they pass out, they're a valuable resource, and we know many of them go abroad or within India. So we also launched the alumni portal, which the Honorable Minister launched it recently, few months back. And again, this is also going forward. I think we can also have a common alumni portal, maybe as a whole of government approach to build in on these resources, valuable human resources. Next slide. Yeah, so this is the last slide, and as I said, so we are talking about PhDs and masters, but what about the young school students? Because we have to start right at the beginning, instilling the scientific temper in the young minds. So this is one of the flagship programs which CSIR started in 15-16, and I'm happy to say that more than 5 lakh students have benefited from this program, and they can visit any of the 37 CSIR labs all over the country, and there are different forms of engagement, and we are working with a variety of partners and which are listed here, and a couple of interesting initiatives is this mobile science lab has been developed with the National Council for Science Museums because to take it around the villages in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, talking about genetic diseases and talking about counseling to the school students. Another interesting initiative which the Honorable Minister launched last year was this ISL-enabled Indian Sign Language, because we are talking of inclusion, and many people who are deaf and dumb, they do not have access, and why should they be deprived of science? So this CSIR has initiated with partners an Astro Lab, which is actually has videos and everything which are compatible with ISL language. This is again a unique initiative. And the last initiative which is currently going on is the Jigyasa Epic Hackathon, wherein we are inviting students not just for ideas, but take the ideas to translation. So the idea is that they'll also work in the CSIR lab and develop the prototype. And that is one of the other activities which is furthering the scientific temper in young minds. And thank you. I think there's one last slide, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this is again just shows that how we are contributing right from the school students to the scientists, and of course, and the common portal will really help us to integrate these activities better with the other ministries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your informative lecture. I'm sure our young minds sitting here have been I mean, they will be so happy to listen to all these new opportunities, and that is how they will move forward in life, taking up science as a career. Next, we have with us Dr. Namita Gupta, Scientist G, DST, who is heading the INSPIRE scheme, nurturing young talents in basic and natural sciences at college and university levels, for fostering research careers in both basic and applied sciences. I request you, ma'am, to share your experiences that have been crucial in development of this portal.
Very good afternoon. Dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Minister, sir, Secretaries of Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, DG Press Information Bureau, my colleague from DBT, Dr. Mishra. Very good morning. I'll give a very brief background of the Department of Science and Technology fellowship schemes. My colleagues from CSIR and Department of Biotechnology are the sister departments under the Ministry of Science and Technology, as they have deliberated about the schemes which are prevalently going on in their departments for the various fellowships. I'll give a very brief about the major fellowship schemes which are running under the Department of Science and Technology. My presentation, please. Yeah. So under the Ministry of Science and Technology, as the DST, DBT, and DSIR, under which the CSIR functions, are the 3 major departments. So the major, so under the DST, INSPIRE is one of the major schemes. I am the nodal officer of the HRD schemes from the DST for this common fellowship portal, and the head of the INSPIRE division in Department of Science and Technology. So under the INSPIRE program, there is an INSPIRE fellowship, which is for the PhD, under the INSPIRE faculty fellowship, which is for the post-PhD fellows who want to become the independent researchers. So we have another, it's a women scientist program. Under this women scientist program, Vice PhD and Vice PDF are running on the same lines for the pursuing PhD and pursuing postdoc programs, under which the fellowships are provided to the women scientists who want to pursue their career in science. Then we have the ANRF schemes for the NPDF and the Ramanujan Fellowship. Next slide, please. Yeah. So these are the brief information about these INSPIRE schemes, as well as the women fellowship schemes, as well as the ANRF schemes for the postdoc fellows, as well as the Ramanujan Fellowship. In this, these are the two, some of the statistics which I am providing here. what are the number of fellowships available for the students who want to do the research. And these are the number of applications which we have received in the year 2023 under these various programs. So you see, when we do the total of these, more than, as Dr. Mishra was saying, under the DBT, around 15,000 applications are received. So more than that number is received under DST also. So it combines, and the same is happening under the CSIR also. So 15, 25, so that's all. More than 50,000 students will get benefited from this common fellowship portal, because they will be able to apply from the same one single common place. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the workflow of this common fellowship portal will be that under the common fellowship portal, the applicant will register on this portal, or there is an opportunity presently available. He or she can register on the existing portals also, because all the departments are running their own portals also. So that opportunity is available. Registration can be done either on the CFP portal or on the existing portal. So once the registration is done on the common fellowship portal, a CFP identification ID gets generated. So with that ID, that application will get routed to the existing portal, and that one can track the status or the update on the common fellowship portal directly also. If someone registers on the existing portal, that will get redirected to the CFP also, from where one can track the application also. So that is the workflow of how the common fellowship portal is interlinked to all the existing portals which are running under the various departments. Next slide, please. So INSPIRE being the major HRD scheme of the Department of Science and Technology, so this slide indicates that INSPIRE has a connect with all the major portals and the websites which are running under the Ministry of Science and Technology as well as the Government of India. For example, we see the INSPIRE has its own portal, INSPIRE has its own mobile application, INSPIRE has a connect with the DST website, INSPIRE has a connect with the DBT Bharat portal, because under this, under the direct benefit transfer, the scholarships are provided, and the data for these scholarships which are provided, that is available on the DBT Bharat portal. PFMS, everybody knows that the disbursement is done through the PFMS. And then the DST Darpan dashboard, there also the data is available, and the Prayas portal, on which the granularity is up to the district level. So all this data is available, as well as on the Umang app. So the data is available on all these. Another is, apart from these 9, on the 10th one, the common fellowship portal is the new addition, which will have a connect with the INSPIRE program. Next slide, please. So the INSPIRE fellowship, what are the achievements? These are some indicative achievements which have been, which are made available in this slide. So these are what are the INSPIRE's, like for example, the portal's address is this. In case of this, if someone wants to apply under the Women Scientists program, this is the website address. And for the ANRF, this is the website address. So when we see here also the total, so more than around about 20,000 are the beneficiaries which are getting benefit of these fellowship programs. Next slide, please. Achha, innovation in science pursued for the inspired research. Okay. Okay, sir. Next slide, please. So these are the existing portals presently. That the first one is the INSPIRE portal, which is of the Department of Science and Technology. Another is the Women Science portal for the Women Scientist scheme under the Vice Kiran division of DST. And another is the ANRF's this CRB portal. Next slide, please. So as Dr. Mishra has already informed about the benefits, so these are some of the benefits. One is that is the first and foremost benefit is the ease of applying under the various schemes. So an applicant, whosoever is coming for the first time and trying to find out what are the fellowship schemes available, I want to enroll for the PhD. So what are the options available? So that will make his life very easy, and he or she will be able to find out whatever the details instead of going through the various websites and getting the information. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The Department of Science and Technology under Professor Abhay Karandikar has been an invaluable contributor to the development of this portal, sir. His support, expertise, and guidance has played a pivotal role in bringing this project to finality. We are honored to have you with us. May I invite you now, sir, to address our esteemed gathering.
Honorable Union Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, my colleague, Secretary DBT, Dr. Rajesh Kokle, scientists from DST, DBT, CSIR, the entire team which has contributed to the development of the Common Fellowship Portal under the leadership of Dr. Mishra. Let me begin by congratulating this team for developing this portal, which will prove to be extremely beneficial for all the prospective candidates, whether it is for the PhD programs or the postdoctoral fellowship programs. And as was pointed out by Dr. Namita Gupta, one of the advantages of this portal is towards contributing towards ease of doing science. As was pointed out in Dr. Mishra's presentation, that one feature of the portal, which is the eligibility calculator, I hope will really prove to be very useful for all the research aspirants in knowing that for which schemes, and there are large number of schemes by the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, CSIR, where they are eligible, and how they can apply through a common frameworks. I would also like to congratulate the team of the Department of Science and Technology, DBT and CSIR, who have come together for contributing this. I hope it will help in streamlining the various diversities in methodologies which have been adopted for processing of applications, selection of fellows, and the mechanism for disbursement of funds. This portal will set the benchmark for bringing together and operationalizing similar schemes using such selection process for selection of fellows. We hope that this common fellowship portal will become a extremely useful platform for all the aspirants, youth of the country, looking forward for various funding opportunities in the form of fellowship to support their studies and research. From the departments, not only from the scientific ministries, but I hope that this will also serve as a template for other ministries, particularly the Ministry of Education also, in simplifying the process of selection and reducing the processing time. So I wish all the best. In such a portal, obviously, there will be some issues initially, which we will be happy to take the feedback from the candidates, and will be able to improve the features of the portal. We can, of course, add more features as well as we go along in order to make it more user-friendly and streamlining the process. So thank you once again, and I would like to congratulate this entire team who have contributed towards developing the portal.
Thank you so much, sir. We have with us Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary, Department of Biotechnology. It is through his constant guidance, leadership, and unwavering motivation that we were able to successfully develop this portal. His vision provided us the guiding light, his leadership steered us through challenges, and his encouragement fueled our determination. We are extremely grateful for his invaluable contributions, without which this accomplishment would not have been possible. Now I extend an invitation to Secretary DBT to address us.
Thank you, Namaskar, and good afternoon to all of you. Honorable Minister of State of Independent Charge, Ministry of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, my colleague, Secretary Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Karandikar ji, my colleague from DBT, Senior Advisor, Dr. Sanjay Mishra, Director General Press Information Bureau, Madam Pragya Paliwal ji, all my colleagues from Ministry, DBT, BIRAC, DST, various directors of institutions, students and researchers, members of press, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be present over here for today's ceremony of the Common Fellowship Portal. Obviously, I think we need to first thank Honorable Minister for guiding us in being able to take up these activities. For the last couple of years, his motivation and his infectious enthusiasm has always supported us to do well in various forays. And this is one such example where we've all come together as a ministry to be able to launch a collective portal that will be utilized by hopefully across other ministries as well, actually, in future to come. So I think your support and guidance have been testamount for bringing various milestones in Department of Biotechnology. I also, like previous Secretary Dr. Karandikar said, would like to congratulate the entire team who have worked towards creation of this portal. It's quite complex, believe me. It looks trivial actually to come together and set up everything, but there are small nitty-gritty challenges, the API integrations and various other activities that do become a problem because different people ask different kind of details and their formattings are different. But I think I should congratulate the team for coming up with this fantastic portal. I think as we embark upon Viksit Bharat Yatra, the technology-enabled future and knowledge-based economy, the nurturing talent will become an important feature. And I think our country is looking forward to the power of the youth and the combination of technology, which I think this portal will therefore wonderfully enable us in the future of the country. I mean, we all know that the talent in our country doesn't require any endorsements. We are all tremendously educated, tremendously powerful ecosystem, great educations and great ways in which. I think the real challenge is in the capacity building. With time, you need to actually empower the youth with new skills, instincts, abilities, resources, and I think they need to be provided at right time and provided a good access to it. I think this Common Fellowship Portal represents an initiative in reshaping the landscape of fellowship opportunities. I also think ministries will find it useful to go to this portal before setting up new fellowships and programs, because that will allow us to understand where are the gaps, how we can utilize this portal. Even though, people who set up fellowships, they will also find it very, very useful actually. Also for various other purposes as well, the Ministry or Department of Biotechnology has been streamlining various processes of empowering scientific delivery in terms of ease of doing business. For example, earlier last year, Honorable Minister had, launched the inaugural portal of BioRap, which is basically a developed biological research regulatory approval portal, which tracks regulatory work done across biological systems all across the country. Again, this is across the ministries of various. This portal has been developed, provides a single portal access for you to go out and link out yourself to various regulatory guidelines that are required to do research, such that the ethical practices and all other aspects are followed. And I think these interdepartmental synergies really will help in future for various students and young researchers to be able to come up with their own plans and ideas to look at future. This centralized hub, as already been mentioned, actually also streamlines application processes, eliminates redundancies, and promoting a more efficient and user-friendly experience for researchers. I think as mentioned by Secretary DST, I think what is also critical is that this portal heavily relies on active participation of all the departments and stakeholders. Because if you're going to change your portal, the API integration will constantly become a challenge actually. And I would therefore kindly request all the ministries and all the departments to be able to make sure that they don't keep changing their portals such that the API integration doesn't get disturbed actually. Also, the transformation and future of scientific workforce does require tremendous amount of change actually. And Department of Biotechnology has been working towards this direction even at the level of PhD researchers as well. if you really look at science today, individual-based dissertations actually may not give you same amount of value what it used to give several years ago, actually. Either it is in terms of scientific depth or the curiosity or social value. In all the contexts, the individual dissertations are becoming a challenge. And what DBT is trying to do is change the narrative of the PhD programs in the country as well. For example, a program that we recently launched called I3C, which is basically ideate, immerse, innovate through collaborations. Actually, the perspective is really to change the PhD curriculum from the silos of your research to an integrated collaborative programs such that you solve a larger problem itself during your PhD. And in fact, this can be considered as one of your first job rather than considering a studentship, actually. I think this will really change the way we are actually addressing problems in scientific community and fraternity. Also, finally, I would like to talk about the futuristic work capabilities also have to align with the national goals of accelerating employment and entrepreneurship, actually. Both these aspects will become very critical for our country's backbone of economic development. And I'm almost sure that Viksit Bharat will have large number of startups and deep tech startups, actually, which require these kind of portal management systems to be able to make very, very useful. Our Viksit Bharat Yatra presents an opportunity for us to devise indigenous technologies through solutions in the range of areas and widest possible participation of highly skilled, empowered youth. Department of Biotechnology, just in the end, would say that is spearheading BioVision for the Bharat, addressing the intertwined challenges of 21st century. DBT's newly proposed initiative, also announced in the interim budget on biomanufacturing, aims to promote approaches that will build more prosperous, equitable, and sustainable future to achieve the target of Viksit Bharat for 2047. I think together, as part of various new schemes, various human resource programs, and activities of various future development, we look forward to the future of our country. And I again thank you, all of you, for coming here today and congratulate the team for doing this wonderful job. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. It is our immense pleasure and honor to have Honorable Union Minister of State of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, today with us. Sir, your dedicated efforts and visionary leadership in the field of science and technology have been truly commendable. Under your guidance, we have witnessed remarkable advancements and initiatives that have propelled our nation towards greater heights. Sir, your steadfast support and guidance have been the cornerstone of our journey towards the development of this portal. As a pillar of strength, you have provided unwavering encouragement, motivation, and direction to all of us involved in this endeavor. We are immensely grateful for your invaluable presence and unwavering commitment, which have been instrumental in steering us towards success. With your gracious presence here, I humbly request you, sir, to officially launch the Common Fellowship Portal. Thank you very much, sir. And now we are all eagerly waiting for your insightful words, which will undoubtedly guide and motivate us in our collective pursuit of scientific excellence. Mananiya Mantri ji, please.
Secretary DBT, Professor Rajesh Gokhale, Professor Abhay, Dr. Mishra, Pragya, the senior members of fraternity, friends from the media. At the outset, I have to congratulate you all. It's been an excellent teamwork, and I think one of the most striking examples of the whole of government approach that is sought to be reiterated by Prime Minister Modi again and again. And it won't have been possible actually if each one of them in the team had not contributed to a lesser or a greater extent. So when the anchor person was talking about me and giving all the credit to me, I initially felt tempted to interrupt her, but then it was sounding good and flattering. So I allowed her to carry on. But the truth is otherwise. I think this is one of the best examples. And it all started a few years back when we started sitting together, because that was also a practice which was unknown to us. We worked in different departments, and therefore we thought we could have at least once in a month a joint meeting of all the departments of science and all the ministries of science. And then I realized that some of the departments were so unfamiliar with each other, they were not even known to each other, and sometimes even because two of our departments, namely the Atomic Energy Department and the Department of Space, are located outside Delhi. For legacy reasons, the headquarters of one is in Mumbai, the other one is Bengaluru. And quite often, the secretaries here or the other staff members would not even know who's the Secretary Atomic Energy, which sounds rather little embarrassing, but that's been true. And so also was the case with the Department of Space, till of course Chandrayaan happened and Somnath became a celebrity. And therefore I think when we started sitting together, not only we got to know each other, and that also experience after the COVID, because many of us were working in silos, each room was developing its own ventilator, so we didn't know what's happening. And so there was also maybe not a very optimum use of resources happening. So during one of those meetings, I realized, because I have been traveling a lot, visiting the universities and the colleges, wherever I went, I found students always struggling with the procedures to apply for fellowships. Very often, they were at a loss to find out what fellowship was meant for which student. And more often than that, they did not know where to find out. So once, on the one hand, not able to find out, on the other hand, didn't know where to find out. Secondly, in the process, they missed out on many of the fellowship opportunities, which could have been very appropriate from their profile, from their aptitude, also their taste and their area of work. And there were multiple websites which were not known. In fact, so often, it's been not very past, it's been very recent. I came across a PhD girl in one of these universities. She said she wanted to go abroad for a fellowship. And then I told her, I said the same kind of course is available, or a fellowship is available in one of our these genetic institutes which we have over here. What is that called? ICGB. And ironically, a girl who had dedicated so many years was not actually aware. So, and sometimes there were also dates clashing with each other. And if there were some interactive selection interactions, then they would either not be able to reach out to all of those opportunities for reasons of time constraint, or even sometimes for reasons of affordability. So I had the courage to put across this unorthodox suggestion in one of those meetings, that could we have a common portal. So I was not sure how well it would be taken, but I'm glad all the secretaries were generous enough, and it was decided. We had Dr. Manda at that time, the CSIR DG. He was among the senior most, so a committee was constituted under him. And I said, can we have, it would, to my mind, what occurred was that it would serve the dual purpose. One, of course, addressing the issues related to the young aspirants and students, which I have been placing before you in the last few minutes. The other, I said, we are the Ministry of Science and Technology. So we are mandated to develop technologies for others to follow, the best practices in technology. But we are, if we ourselves don't follow the best practices, how would others do? So that could also vindicate our work or the kind of assignment given to us. And in the course of that meeting itself, one of the members suggested and made a very useful input that if we have to indulge in an exercise like this, why then limit ourselves only to a single ministry or single department? Because the young aspirants have to deal with multiple ministries. So the young boy or a young girl doesn't know what is happening through Ministry of Education or Ministry of Health. For him or her, it's just the fellowship. So it becomes another challenge for them. So that's how we started. We thought we would have a committee because there were certain exams being conducted in UGC. There was an exam being conducted by UGC, also by CSIR. So many fellowships overlapping with each other, AICTE, ICR, MAR. So, and then later on, the Department of Biotechnology took over the responsibility of coordinating for this common portal, which was ready initially, as Rajesh was pointing out, in January 22. We had an initial feel of it, and then a working group was constituted. And they are still working. I hope they'll finish working. So that, and Dr. Mishra will ensure that, so that we have the fellowships from all the science departments as well as from the Ministry of Education, also from the Ministry of Health in a single portal. The hallmarks, as was being pointed out by the brief presentation in Dr. Mishra, he called it brief, though it was not so brief, was the, because I think you could have 3-slide bullet points so that which could strike the youngster what is meant for him. In fact, when we started in one of the fellowships way back in late 90s, and we used to select these boys and girls on the basis of their presentation, we kept a marking also for the number of slides. So the more the number of slides, there would be a negative marking. And this is a pattern which we adopted from the Denmark company, the nodal. So you have 4 slides and you convey what is, so that the message goes crisp into, right into the receptive cell. So I think the hallmark A is the eligibility calculator. So you just put your this thing, and then it keeps roaming all across the universe. And then it brings back to you where you are meant for, what you are meant for, or you are meant for or not, both ways. Sometimes like everybody takes a train to Mumbai to become a hero or a heroine. And there you realize that you end up as a clapper boy to make a livelihood, because you think, after all, you need to feed yourself. So you don't get it. So this will give you both, whether you are meant for biotechnology or not. If you are meant for biotechnology, it's going to be human bio, or it's going to be plant. And therefore, the other is the single application form, as Dr. Mishra said. And the third is the storage of your repository. So these 3 ingredients are the most important, which must be popularized across all the young aspirants. And that would automatically attract them. But the full purpose of this would be served only when you have the other fellowships also, which we are in the process of doing. I think the sooner we do, the better it is. Maybe the subconscious pressure of the code of conduct getting imposed brought us together today. Otherwise, in the next few weeks, I think we'll be through with that. But I'm sure at least by the next academic session, we are able to give this service to our younger community. And then I also envisage the next step, we would also have to go to the next level. A, this is going to be a dynamic process. What is relevant today may not be tomorrow. And B, we could then have WhatsApp, so that anybody could access through mobile. You don't have to, like we've done this, even in the other departments which I was working, because for example in RTI, they had to file an RTI from 10 to 4. Now we have introduced a WhatsApp mobile, so you could file an RTI from anywhere in the world, day or night, because some people become wiser after midnight. So that way. So I think that is an opportunity, because you can't hold the youngsters bound by the constraints of time. So that and if we are able to actually do that, ultimately, this will not only help to nurture, facilitate, or sharpen the scientific temper, as was being mentioned, but also the startup aptitudes. Because many of us don't know that we don't know, and many of us know what we don't know. So sometimes that realization of aptitude also happens as one starts growing. It's a evolving process. When an adolescent maybe starts feeling that he is or she is went like that, and then gradually it happens. And this is going to be a part of the larger eco effect, which also would include, ironically, the new education policy, the NEP 2020, because there you have the option to opt out or to change your stream of academics. So not necessarily that you become prisoner of what you have chosen today, because as I firmly believe that the aptitude itself, it is often said that it is inherent. Of course it's inherent, but its growth is not inherent. So you may have an aptitude to sing, but the evolution of that skill is realized by the individual, sometimes through his own effort, sometimes it happens through the circumstantial support. So this would help in that. And finally, I think later on, when we are able to integrate all these fellowships across the ministry, then we will gain for a larger or an extended integration. Maybe we would also have industry included in that portal, so that when I put my eligibility criteria or my calculator there, and that matches with my fellowship, it also gives me a mapping of the industry. Where would I fit in after this? So it gives me a direction of the graph that I may be seeking to follow in my future years of life. Because otherwise, if you don't have a proper industry linkage, then you would not sustain your fellowship, nor would you sustain your startup, because at the end of the day, we are all children of the same society. So however fanciful, however academically prestigious a course or a fellowship may sound, but when a youngster finds his peer moving in a BMW, he says, hell with my bicycle and my academics. So in order to give that peer satisfaction and that sense of being living in esteem with contentment, so I think that industry linkage is something which I am very strongly have been advocating. We would keep on extending it, and I hope those who are in future responsible with this task would take up that. And ultimately, of course, all this is, as Rajesh said, going to contribute to Viksit Bharat, because this is the generation which has been blessed to work with this optimum energy and talent for the next 20 years before we reach that pedestal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are all indebted for your kind words of guidance. Interaction with the media is always of vital importance, as they serve our eyes and ears to the wider world. Through effective communication with the media, we can disseminate accurate information, highlight key achievements, and also address any concerns or queries from the stakeholders. Through transparent and open dialogue with the media, we can build trust, enhance visibility, and ensure that our message reaches a broader audience. So now I invite the Director General PIB to facilitate the interactions with the media.
Thank you, Garima. Now, Honorable Minister would be taking questions from the media.
No, I think talking of media, as I was saying, we would go on extending, we would go on integrating. And when we link industry, when we link stakeholders, when we link future opportunities of livelihood, we would also have a handle of social media linked to it, so that it automatically gets reflected there across and gets circulated. So we'll have to think very futuristically and visualize before things happen, so that the youngster doesn't have to go from pillar to post. Ultimately, we might also include in this some fellowships for journalists. There's no dearth of that. No, actually that is my vision. Why should we? See, we are Ministry of Science and Technology. We are expected to develop best practices in technology, not only for ourselves, for a larger use. So that's also part of our mandate, to include all the fellowships.
Science communication is one part of this.
Yes, science communication, mass communication. नहीं, जैसे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी अक्सर कहते हैं कि जब हम 2047 के शताब्दी भारत की कल्पना करते हैं तो उसमें भारत के प्रत्येक नागरिक का योगदान रहेगा, और उसमें से सबसे बड़ा वर्ग युवाओं का, 70% से अधिक, 40 वर्ष से कम अवस्था के। अब उनका समय और ऊर्जा व्यर्थ ना जाए केवल ये ढूंढने में, ये तलाशने में कि उन्हें क्या करना है। वो केवल उनके हित के लिए नहीं है, उनकी सुविधा के लिए नहीं है। मुझे लगता है कि राष्ट्र के प्रति हमारा दायित्व है ताकि वो अपनी ऊर्जा और अपने समय को पर्याप्त ढंग से, सकारात्मक ढंग से उपयोग में ला सकें, और साथ ही साथ कोई ऐसी व्यवस्था रहे जो उनका मार्गदर्शन भी कर सके, गाइड भी कर सके कि किस रास्ते पर चल करके वो अपने भविष्य को भी श्रेष्ठ ढंग से उसको निर्माणित कर सकते हैं, और साथ ही साथ राष्ट्र निर्माण में भी योगदान हो सकता है। जी, नहीं, ऐसा है कि पहले और अब में ये अंतर आ गया है कि पहले हमारे पास कुछ एक विकल्प नहीं थे, तो आपका कहना ठीक है, तो उसके वजह से बहुत से लोगों को बाहर जाना पड़ता था। अब लगभग वो सारे विकल्प यहाँ पर उपलब्ध हैं जो विदेशों में हैं, और परिस्थितियाँ बदली हैं। इत्तेफाक से जो हमारी राजनीतिक व्यवस्था है, जो पॉलिटी है, जो हमारी नेतृत्व है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के लीडरशिप में, उसने एक बड़ा ही इनेबलिंग एटमॉस्फेयर दिया है। जो नीति निर्धारकों के स्तर पर जिस प्रकार का सहयोग हमें उपलब्ध होना चाहिए, वो अब उपलब्ध होने लगा। आपने अंतरिक्ष में देखा, प्राइवेट सेक्टर को जिस प्रकार से मोदी जी के आने के बाद प्रोत्साहित किया गया हमारे कामकाज में सहयोग देने को, तो उसके परिणाम स्वरूप अब ये स्थिति हुई है कि बहुत से लोग जो पलायन कर गए थे वो भी अब वापस आना चाहते हैं। और आपकी और सबके साथ जानकारी ये साझा करने का आपने अवसर दिया कि इस बात को समझते हुए, और यही एक नया ट्रेंड देख करके प्रोफेसर अभय के विभाग ने एक नई स्कीम लाई है, वैभव का पूरा मतलब ज़रा एक्रोनिम का बता दीजिए, जिसके तहत कुछ एक वर्षों के लिए, 3 वर्ष 4 वर्ष के लिए वहाँ से लोग आकर के यहाँ फेलोशिप कर सकते हैं। जो चले गए, जो NRI बन गए, वो अपनी प्राथमिकता के अनुसार अपने विषय का चयन कर सकते हैं। कुछ यहाँ से उनको गाइड किया जा सकता है कि कौन से हमारे संस्थान में इस प्रकार का काम हो रहा है जिसमें उनको रुचि है, भले ही वो IIT है या दूसरे संस्थान है। थोड़ा सा आप भी बता दें। दिस इज़ फॉर द रिवर्स पलायन, तो पलायन कर चुके हैं, वापस आना चाह रहे हैं।
So I think that scheme is meant for our Indian diaspora to work with the Indian academic institution. तो इसमें जो हमारे सारे विश्व के जो whether it is in the US या यूरोप, उनके जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ और रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशंस में जो भारतीय काम कर रहे हैं, वो अपने यहाँ के भारत के इंस्टीट्यूशंस पर आकर और यहाँ के साइंटिस्ट और फैकल्टी के साथ कोलैबोरेटिवली काम कर सकते हैं। सो दिस फेलोशिप इज़ मेंट फॉर दैट। वो यहाँ पर 2 साल के लिए यहाँ पर आ सकते हैं, और वो बहुत फ्लेक्सिबल स्कीम है। ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उनको पूरा समय यहाँ पर रहना है, वो लिमिटेड पीरियड के लिए भी रह सकते हैं यहाँ पर। सो वी हैव रिसेंटली गिवन 22 वैभव फेलोशिप। अभी एक न्यू कॉल ओपन है, और ये सभी साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी की जितनी भी एरियाज़ हैं उन सभी एरियाज़ में है, वेदर इट इज़ स्पेस साइंस और बायो और AI और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और सेमीकंडक्टर्स। तो अभी हमने फर्स्ट कोहर्ट्स में 22 फेलोशिप्स दी हुई है, लेकिन आगे हम कभी 50 फेलोशिप्स इस तरह की और देंगे। तो वो कॉल फॉर प्रपोजल्स अभी ओपन है। जब सारी एप्लीकेशंस आ जाएंगी तो हम उसको रिव्यू करके सिलेक्शन करके 50 फेलोशिप्स इस तरह की आगे और देंगे।
Hello. What is the criteria of selecting the candidates, since the candidates are more than the fellowship?
There is a criteria laid down in each of this. This is only meant to facilitate that, for facilitation of the aspirant candidate, so that he doesn't have to go from one end to the other end. तो वहाँ पे उनका रिपोजिटरी भी है, ऑटोमेटिकली उनको पिकअप भी हो जाएगा, उनको पता भी चल जाएगा। बाकी सिलेक्शन का तो क्राइटेरिया इज लेड डाउन, लेकिन साथ ही साथ ये भी है कि ये जो एक ज़माने में आज से 30-40 साल पहले फेलोशिप एक कर ली और फिर सारी उम्र उसी की परछाई में गुजार देते थे, बड़े बड़े मोटे अक्षरों में लिख करके, चाहे वो मेडिकल है, दूसरा है कहीं यूके से कर लिया। अब वो ज़माना नहीं रहा। अब ये बढ़ता जाएगा। नॉट ओनली फेलोशिप्स की स्ट्रीम्स बढ़ती जाएंगी, विच आई कैन विजुलाइज, बल्कि पिछली फेलोशिप्स का रिवीजन भी होता रहेगा, रिविजिटिंग। जैसे हमारे यहाँ एक होता है डबलिंग टाइम। डबलिंग टाइम इज द टाइम एंड द टेक्स्ट बुक नीड्स टू बी री रिटन, रीपब्लिश। तो पुराने ज़माने में कहीं 5-7 साल में था, फिर कहीं आ गया 5 साल, फिर आ गया कहीं 3 साल, अब 2-2 साल के अंदर भी वॉल्यूम बढ़ता। तो एक तो टाइम बढ़ता जा रहा है, बाकी एक टेक्स्ट बुक की 3 वॉल्यूम्स होती जा रही हैं। तो ये सिलसिला और एक्सपैंड होगा इवन आफ्टर यू हैव रिसीव्ड द हाईएस्ट डिग्रीज, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल इवन इन area of medicine, if you had done a DM or DNB, then you thought you could then, relax for the rest of the life. It's no longer that. Now you have fellowship. पहले फेलोशिप छोटी डिग्री के लिए होता था कि साहब ने शायद बड़ी डिग्री नहीं की तो इनको फेलोशिप करके उस स्तर पे लाना। अब बड़ी से बड़ी उच्च डिग्री हासिल करने के बाद भी आपको फेलोशिप की आवश्यकता रहेगी थोड़े थोड़े अंतराल के बाद, क्योंकि जो आपने कल पढ़ा या कल सीखा वो शायद अभी आउटडेट हो गया या उसको अपग्रेड करने की आवश्यकता होगी। अब AI एक नया टूल आया है।
There's a question from the back.
सर, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जो बच्चे फेलोशिप इधर पीछे सर करना चाहते हैं, खासकर रूरल एरिया से जो बच्चे आए, उनको गवर्नमेंट तरफ से कोई फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट या किसी और तरीके की सपोर्ट्स का ऐसा कोई प्रावधान है जिससे उनका पार्टिसिपेशन ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हो सके, जो इनका इंटरेस्ट है वो कर सकें?
नहीं, आप ठीक कह रहे हैं, उसके बारे में फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट भी है। रूरल हमने हब्स भी बनाए हैं, ST हब्स, टेक्नोलॉजी हब्स भी। अभी मैं कहूँगा प्रोफेसर अभय को बताएंगे। जो वीकर सेक्शंस हैं या जिनको थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा सपोर्ट की चाहिए, उनके लिए एक्सक्लूसिव टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोविजंस फॉर ट्रेनिंग एंड ऑल्सो फॉर यूज़ ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर लाइवलीहुड पर्पसेस, वो भी प्रावधान है। दूसरा ये है कि रूरल एरिया का सबसे बड़ा लेवलर हो गया अब टेक्नोलॉजी। तो पुराने ज़माने में क्या था कि वहाँ लाइब्रेरी उपलब्ध नहीं थी, पुस्तकें उपलब्ध नहीं थी, तो इसलिए अब आप देखिए कि हर एक एरिया में, हमारे सिविल सर्विसेज में भी छोटे छोटे कस्बों से, डिग्री कॉलेजेस से मात्र BA करने के बाद पहली अटैम्प्ट में बच्चे IAS सिविल सर्विसेज कर रहे हैं। और बहुत से ऐसे हैं जो सिर्फ इससे तैयारी की है, मतलब प्रोफाइल बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं अपने चेहरे का, इसमें और बड़ा कुछ है। और ऐसे, और मेरे पास ऐसे, बिकॉज मैं DOPT देखता हूँ, ऐसे हमारे पास उदाहरण है बच्चों के कि जो अपने घर के नज़दीक उन्होंने रूटीन बना ली होती है कि शाम का भोजन करने के बाद रात को रेलवे स्टेशन पे चले जाते हैं, वहाँ वाईफाई लगा होता है और ये लेके साथ में। तो एक टेक्नोलॉजी इससे, तभी मैंने कहा कि बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस अगर हम टेक्नोलॉजी में डेवलप करेंगे, जैसे ये भी एक है पोर्टल का, तो ये उन लोगों को जो डिसएडवांटेज बच्चे हैं उनके लिए फ़ायदा रहेगा, एक लेवलर रहेगा, लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड रहेगा। उसके अतिरिक्त जो आप कह रहे हैं कि फिजिकल सपोर्ट वो और आर्थिक सहयोग, उसका भी प्रावधान प्रोफेसर अभय बताएंगे।
I just wanted to mention कि even our existing fellowships now, the number of applicants from the rural areas has significantly increased. Even in the DST's programs for Wise Kiran fellowships, for example, or Vigyan Jyoti.
Women were more from rural areas.
Yes. So the number of applications and the number of people selected have, the data has shown that it has consistently has been increasing. So these
उसका कारण भी टेक्नोलॉजी है। पहले क्या होता था, कई समाचार पत्र कई जगह पहुंचते ही नहीं थे, छोटे कस्बों में, गांव में, और पहुंचते थे 3 दिन के बाद, या हफ्ते में 2 दिन रूटीन बनाई होती, 4-5 इकट्ठे भेज देने, सोमवार से लेकर बृहस्पतिवार तक एक बार, फिर रविवार को एक साथ। अब वो है कि रियल टाइम उनको भी वही इन्फॉर्मेशन उपलब्ध हो जाती है।
आई थिंक वन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ, मतलब ये कॉमन फेलोशिप पोर्टल का ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है भी कि पूरी प्रोसेस को हम सिंप्लीफाई करें ताकि इसका रीच और एक्सेस वो बढ़े, और व्हेन इट इज transformed into a mobile app, etc., then its reach and access and simplification will also increase the wider reach. और ये जो fellowships हैं, चाहे DST की, DBT, CSIR, they are applicable to all the students,
स्टार कॉलेजेस का एक प्रोग्राम शुरू किया है छोटे शहरों में, जहाँ मेंटरशिप का Secretary DBT is dealing with it. आप बता रहे हैं।
सो ये आपने बिल्कुल एकदम करेक्ट बात कही कि जो कॉलेजेस में पहुंचना, वहाँ उनके तक पहुंचना भी बहुत ज़रूरी है। और एक तो टेक्नोलॉजी कनेक्टिविटी, दूसरा कि आप वहाँ जाके मेंटरशिप प्रोग्राम्स करेंगे। सो स्पेसिफिकली स्टार कॉलेज प्रोग्राम जो हैं वो अक्रॉस कंट्री टायर 2, टायर 3 सिटीज़ और इवन रूरल सेक्टर्स में स्पेसिफिकली उनको रिसर्च के प्रति ऊर्जा लाने में और रुचि पैदा करने में एक्चुअली यूज़फुल कर रहे हैं। और ये स्पेशलिस्ट प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो वहाँ पे जाके सिखाते हैं, वहाँ पे मेंटर्स को भी मेंटर किया जाता है कि किस तरह से मेंटरशिप किया जाए। तो ऐसे काफ़ी अक्रॉस सारे पूरे मिनिस्ट्री में बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो इस तरह से चलते हैं।
बल्कि हमारी एक एम्बिशियस कल्पना ये है कि इनको नीचे तक ले जाना है। सेक्रेटरी साहब से यही इनको कर रहा था निवेदन कि हम अब जाएं क्लास 12 तक और फिर 7 to 12, क्योंकि वहीं पे सारा गड़बड़ होता है। और साथ साथ माता पिता का भी मेंटरिंग करनी, सबसे पहले वही इधर उधर कर देते हैं बच्चे को।
Now, over to Garima, please. Thank you, sir, for the question and answer session.
He wants to talk.
सर, मैं मास्टर्स का स्टूडेंट हूँ। मेरा सवाल सर दो एस्पेक्ट्स पे है, एक स्टूडेंट्स की फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट और दूसरा ब्रेन ड्रेन सिचुएशन इन इंडिया। सर, जब मैं 12th पास आउट हुआ तो मेरी क्लास के 3 बच्चे यूएस चले गए और 2 कनाडा चले गए। हम 33 का बैच था, 28 बचे। आफ्टर दैट अब मैं जिससे भी मिलता हूँ तो मेरा पहला सवाल ये होता है कि आप पीएचडी करेंगे, कहाँ से करेंगे, या फिर जो पीएचडी कर रहे होते हैं उनसे पूछता हूँ कि अब आप पीएचडी के बाद क्या करेंगे। सर, द जनरलाइज्ड रिस्पॉन्स आई सी इज दैट जी बाहर जाना है, कहाँ जाना है, यूरोप जाना है, यूएसए जाना है। सर, आई सी कि हमारे फेलोशिप प्रोग्राम्स हमें सपोर्ट सर्टेनली कर सकते हैं इंडिया में, दे आर रियली नाइस। सर, बट व्हाट अबाउट अ सिचुएशन कि हम इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट में फेलोशिप लें या कहीं बाहर जाएं। सर, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स के मन में परसेप्शन ये है कि बाहर इट्स बेटर। और अगर हम सिर्फ मास्टर्स, बैचलर्स और पीएचडी वालों को अगर हटा दें, जो बच्चे 12th में भी गए थे, सर उनके दिमाग में एक आइडियोलॉजी बिल्कुल क्लियर थी, हम 6 महीने का जी डिप्लोमा करेंगे, बाद में वहाँ ट्रक चलाएंगे। सर, दे आर सपोर्टिंग देमसेल्फ इन यूएस।
क्या कर रहे हैं?
सर, मैं एमएससी कंप्लीट कर रहा हूँ, अपनी डेजर्टेशन ट्रेनी हूँ।
अच्छा, नहीं वैसे एक मैं बताऊँ आपको एन अनप्लेजेंट ट्रुथ, क्योंकि हम भी यही खुराफातियाँ करते थे। अगर आप हर बैच में हर साल देखिए कितने बच्चे बाहर गए हैं, अगर मान लीजिए 100, तो आप भी ये करना, बड़ा दिलचस्प सर्वे रहेगा। 20 ऐसे होंगे जिनके माँ बाप अमीर हैं, जिनको आईआईटी में सीट नहीं मिली, जिनको नीट में पास नहीं हुए, जो आईआईटी जेई में पास नहीं हुए, फिर चले गए एम्स्टर्डम। कहने को तो बड़ा कहा कि साहब हम वहाँ हैं, लेकिन हकीकत ये है कि उससे पहले यहाँ नाकामयाब होके गए हैं। क्योंकि हमारे जो ये कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं, दे आर वर्ल्ड क्लास इंस्टीट्यूट्स एंड सिलेक्शन इज़ वेरी टीडियस। बाहर के किसी इंस्टीट्यूट में तो आपको आसानी से मिल जाएगी, लेकिन किसी आईआईटी और एम्स में सीट निकालना बहुत मुश्किल है। तो इसलिए उस पैरामीटर से हमें निराशा नहीं लेनी है कि वो बाहर गए तो शायद इसलिए गए कि श्रेष्ठ थे, इसलिए भी जाते हैं कि यहाँ उनको स्लॉट नहीं मिलता। या कई बार क्या होता है कि नीट में क्वालिफाई हो गए, क्लिनिकल ब्रांच नहीं मिली, बिकॉज आई हैव बीन अ टीचर ऑल्सो फॉर क्वार्टर ऑफ अ सेंचुरी। तो करना चाहते थे, फैमिली है डॉक्टर्स की, दे वांट द चाइल्ड टू बिकम अ फिजिशियन और अ गर्ल टू बिकम गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, टू बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ द नर्सिंग होम। नीट में से मिला सीट फिजियोलॉजी में और एनाटॉमी में, तो अब क्या करना, फिर वो चले गए बाहर। तो एक तो वो है। दूसरा आपका बात ठीक है, कहाँ जहाँ तक परसेप्शन का है उसको आई थिंक एक तो समय के साथ साथ वो ठीक होगा। दूसरा, हमने अभी तक जो नहीं किया जो हमें करना चाहिए, वो शायद आगे करेंगे, कि कुछ एक ऐसी स्ट्रीम्स हैं विच आर एक्सक्लूसिव टू इंडिया। वन ऑफ देम इज़ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी। हम ज़्यादा आईटी के उसमें रहे तो हमें वो परसेप्शन बन गया। अब जो हमारे पास अरोमा का है रिसोर्स, या बायोडाइवर्सिटी का है, या मैरीन साइंस का है, वो वहाँ नहीं है, लेकिन हमने इसको अभी डेवलप नहीं किया था। और अगेन आई हैव नो हेजिटेशन टू से, ये श्रेय जाता है मोदी जी को। पिछले 10 साल में ही इसको हम करने लगे। ये हिमालयन स्टडीज़ जो शुरू हुई हमारी, अरोमा हैज़ बिकम ल्यूक्रेटिव स्टार्टअप जो आपका लेवेंडर वगैरह है। सी में आपने ब्लू इकॉनमी का लॉन्च किया है अलग से योजना, पीएम ने लाल किले से बोला। ये जो डोमेन्स हमारे जब डेवलप होंगे, ये बाकी देशों में है ही नहीं, उनको आना ही आना पड़ेगा। टू स्टडी अबाउट द मिनरल्स मेटल्स इन द सी बेड, वी हैव द लॉन्गेस्ट 7500 लॉन्ग किलोमीटर, आना ही आना पड़ेगा। हिमालय सिर्फ हमारे हिस्से में आया, बड़ा देश है ये, हमने वो स्ट्रीम्स को डेवलप नहीं किया। है भाई राइट ना? और इनका देखिए पिछले 10 साल में इनकी बायो इकॉनमी केवल $10 बिलियन थी, आज $130 बिलियन हो गई, यानी 13 गुना बढ़ गई। तो ये जो अनएक्सप्लोर्ड एरियाज थे विच आर एक्सक्लूसिव टू इंडिया, वो हमारे हुए नहीं। इसी तरह से मेडिसन में भी या दूसरे में हमने अपना डाटा पूरा डेवलप नहीं किया, अब हम लगे करने। वरना इवन बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस बहुत से ऐसे एरियाज थे जिसके लिए ब्रिटिश रिसर्चर्स इंडिया आते थे, हिमालयन स्टडीज़ के लिए इंडिया आते थे। ट्रॉपिकल डिजीज, काला आजार हो, लिशमैनियासिस हो, मलेरिया और ट्यूबरकुलोसिस, इंडिया आते थे, क्योंकि वहाँ मिलता ही नहीं था। तो हमारे पास तो बहुत बड़ी लेबॉर्ट्री है। लेकिन आपका कहना ठीक है, ये परसेप्शन तभी ठीक होगा कि हम इन एरियाज पे फोकस करें।
Thank you.
एक स्टूडेंट वांट्स टू टॉक।
Thank you for launching this portal. I think this will be very helpful for all the students. But the major issue we face is with the disbursement of fellowship. The implementation is fine. Like we are getting everything. The number of applicants have also increased, and everything is done in a proper way. But when it comes to disbursement, it is really disheartening. And the CSIR and UGC, they are still improving in this aspect. But with DBT, all the students are still facing this.
There were some
so
issues because
what
of
are the
transition.
plans and how we can...
Dr. Gokhale will try to explain to you.
Yes.
You are right, this was a transition happening of the procedures which caused all this, but he'll give you some reassuring.
Yes, how can we work together and how can this be solved?
I think you're right. I mean, last year there was disturbances due to the financial system and accounting system that has got modified all across the country. And this was very important because strategically from a point of view of, although, it doesn't directly impact you, but the amount of money that was actually lying unused was a very large number that was utilized. And therefore, what Finance Ministry did was what is called just-in-release guidelines, called Central Nodal Agency just-in-release actually. Now that is completely implemented, and I think in future this will really help to make sure that all the activities are happening on time. We are actually working very hard on it, and we've also set up PMU units actually that will actually use within 15 days all of these fellowships, and particularly to do with human resource development activities will happen with very, very stringent timelines.
Not only that, I think the accountability has increased also now. And in a year or so, या बल्कि आप ही इसको appreciate करेंगे कि अच्छा हो गया भाई, जो मेरा पैसा था मेरे हिस्से में आ गया, टाइम पर आया, I didn't have to. ये because ये भी इसी गवर्नमेंट ने ये ट्रांजिशन ली, जैसे DBT है हमारा जो डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, दिस इज बिकम अ रोल मॉडल फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। अब इसमें भी क्या हुआ कि बहुत सारी जगह पे MSME और दूसरी पेमेंट्स 2-2 साल तक रुकी रही। देयर वाज लार्ज ह्यू एंड क्राई विच एक्चुअली पीपल लाइक मी इन द पब्लिक लाइफ हैड टू फेस। बोले साहब वोट क्या देना, हमें 2 साल से तनख्वाह ही नहीं मिली। लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ, द अदर डे आई वाज सिटिंग विद सम ऑफ द पीपल इन फाइनेंस एंड आई वाज रियली, आई फेल्ट सो अम्यूज्ड। 1 लाख करोड़ रुपया DBT की वजह से बचा, इट्स अ गेन टू स्टेट एक्सचेकर, जो मिडल मैन ले जाते थे। लेकिन क्या हुआ कि ट्रांजिशन में क्या दिक्कत आई कि बहुत सारे लोगों के बैंक अकाउंट नहीं थे, तो बैंक अकाउंट नहीं थे तो DBT कहाँ जाएगा, वो खुलवाने पड़े, फिर मोटिवेट करना पड़ा, तो इस थोड़ा सा ट्रांजिशन में दिक्कत आ रही है।
So we are coming to the end of the program, and I'm sure the questions were asked by few, but they have answered the queries that were in the hearts and minds of several others as well.
If the students want to ask something, they can ask because all these professors are here.
Thank you, sir. So, as we draw the curtains on this session, I invite my colleague Dr. Vandana Prajapati to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, I express my most sincere gratitude to the Honorable Union Minister of State, Independent Charge, Science and Technology, Minister of State for Prime Minister's Office, Personnel, Public Grievances, Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, who kindly consented to be the chief guest today. Sir, your gracious presence and inspiring words will always motivate us to work for nurturing scientific temper in young minds for Viksit Bharat. Our most sincere thanks to Professor Abhay Karandikar, Secretary DST, who accepted our invitation to join over the inaugural ceremony. We are greatly indebted to you, sir. My sincere thanks to Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary DBT, and we assure you, sir, that under your able guidance and leadership, we will achieve success in realizing the Honorable Prime Minister's aspiration of ease of doing science by empowering youth for scientific transformation. We are grateful to all the dignitaries present, Dr. Raisam, Ms. Gupta, and Senior Advisor DBT, Dr. Sanjay Mishra, and their teams whose concerted efforts have led to the development of the Common Fellowship Portal. I take this opportunity to also thank other distinguished dignitaries present here today. We are also grateful to ITRCB and National Informatics Center for developing the portal. We are thankful to the audience present here, entire Ministry of Science and Technology family, including DBT, DST, DSIR, and the participants who have joined us online to make this event successful. Finally, I extend sincere thanks to Director General PIB, the National Media Center for hosting the inaugural ceremony, and the media personnel for covering this event. Let us now move for lunch and cherish the food. I request everyone to kindly join us in the cafeteria at level 4 for lunch. Thank you, all of you.
Level 4.